97.1, nice to have you. We are getting rave reviews regarding virtual read. I love Coke drop.
I love Coke.
At that exact moment, Sully, your timing is impeccable. That's from Andrew.
I love Coke. I like when you do it better than I do it because you sound like Marlon Brando. Let's do it.
The Rieger scream is hands down the best thing on the station. Rieger, you salty dog, watch your potty mouth. That's from Eric. Derek Carr got hurt on the last drive. Oakland didn't want to play OT with a hurt QB. Well, right, but he was still able to throw a beautiful pass to Michael Crabtree. There's a difference between dinged up and hurt. I watched both Michigan games, but only because I have a cousin playing who I wanted to see. # siren.
Who's the cousin?
He's not going to tell you. That's why it's a siren. The best thing, oops, nope, sorry. I already read that one. I'm trying to keep up here. Caldwell could have just been running 4 to 5 seconds off the clock so the Colts have less time. Sam, listen to me. Here, get close to your speaker. Listen to me. I want to say it as nice as I can. Stop trying to defend the indefensible. When you run a play with 12 seconds left in field goal range with no timeouts, it is a reprehensible decision on every single level. Do not defend the indefensible. That is the worst kind of fan. Don't do it.
Be honest.
It's like a Michigan fan defending the fact that their coach is a booger eater.
It might taste good.
He ate his own boogers on TV. He picked his nose, rolled it into a ball like I roll meatballs, and then put it in his mouth for one sumptuous bite.
It's just delicious.
Thank you, Pat.
With Jim Caldwell, what do you think is the more indefensible move? Not ready for that or thinking it was going to be the back and forth kind of thing, or yesterday when there could have been a couple yesterday, but the last one where you legitimately ran a play instead of just kicking the field goal, where the worst could have happened and you could have lost that football game.
Well, and the other thing, too, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Look, first of all, there's only one good thing that could have come out of the play. Positive yardage and out of bounds. Okay, fine. The negatives, I can name 10 of them, and I'm not even that smart. There's so much that can go wrong on every single play. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And that followed the fact that they chose to save all their timeouts like they were Fabergé eggs and let the clock bleed to 37 seconds. They could have approached that with as much as 90 seconds on the clock and still had timeouts in reserve. It was such a poor job. And I just want fans to approach it and go, hey, pumped we won. That was awesome. I thought Stafford was the real deal yesterday. 31-39, over 300, 3 TDs, and a game-winning drive. You know what that is? That's what Aaron Rodgers would do to the Colts. That's what the quarterbacks we want him to be would do. And he did it. Plus, he told his receivers to go kick rocks, which I loved. The point is, you can't ignore what goes on within it. Do you remember this a couple weeks back? I was on after a Tiger game, and I told you about this, so I know you weren't listening because you were in the locker room. But it was when the Tigers were playing the Red Sox.
Yeah, they Mookie Betts, probably.
Yeah, they won a big game, and I went, guys, listen to me. I'm not being dismissive, but I want to use this as like a teaching moment so you understand what makes me tick. Great that they won, but understand that your manager essentially tried to lose the game. And I gave them the statistical backup as to why it's a decision you cannot make. And when you do, it's reprehensible. I mean, it's like the basic rules of blackjack. There's a column that's acceptable and a column that's not. And there's only like 2 decisions in the entire game that are player choice. You take emotion out and you run the game right.
Yeah, I mean, most decisions are 50-50, and you go with the split odds. You go with the edge that the odds will give you. There are certain times, like yesterday, and the move you're talking about, that the odds are so astronomically against you, and even when you win and defy the odds, It's still a bad choice. Because if I remember correctly, Hanley Ramirez was up after Mookie Betts. You put Betts on, you pitch to Ramirez, who's having a much worse season than Mookie Betts.
And, by the way, statistically, Ramirez does nothing versus righties in comparison to what he does against lefties.
Well, there you go. The other thing, and I'm not going to kill Caldwell over this, and I highly doubt anybody feels the same way that I do, but the other thing that irked me a bit, DeAndre Levy gets called for that taunting penalty.
Yeah.
And say what you will, if it's a soft call or not, it's the rules. If I'm Jim Caldwell, yank him. for a play. That's your leader. Send a message.
That's not a terrible point.
I'm just saying.
It's not a terrible point.
It's the same thing with Brad Ausmus and Tyler Collins flipping everybody the bird. This guy allows him to go back in the game, and after he just offended the whole fan base that pays to go watch the Detroit Tigers play. So it's just a couple things that ran through my mind.
I'm about to make a dream come true because, frankly, I didn't think that this caller existed. I didn't think anyone went by this name anymore. I'm happy to welcome Dick to the show. Hi, Dick.
Hello, Mr. Lenny. How are you?
I'm super, Dick.
I'm a senior, so I'm kind of, my glass is half full. I think as far as the Tigers go, no, they're not going to catch the Indians. They got a shot at a wild card, and you still got a shot if you're 1 or 2 games out with 5 games to go.
All right, but hold on. I got to ask you this question, though. This is important.
Okay, buddy.
All right, so coming out of the weekend, they play the Orioles. You know, it's a big series, right? They go and lose 2 of 3, and your manager can't even just say, "Hey, you know what? Not pleased, but we got to move forward." He has these smarmy remarks about canceling the season. I mean, doesn't that rub you the wrong way, Dick?
Couldn't agree with you more.
You can't say that.
Well, I want to be truthful. Now, listen, I couldn't agree with you more. I think he's made some good decisions. He's made some bad decisions. But as I told the gentleman answered the phone, before the season started, any of the big dogs around the country had a 3rd or 4th place in our division.
Hey, Dick, I got to tell you, it really irked me on Saturday, too, when you start Zimmerman and you tell that his ball just had no velocity.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But the bottom line is, other than us diehard Tigers fans, and I know a lot of you guys there at the station said they weren't going to be worth a tinker's darn. You pull for them, but there's a lot of experts that said they weren't going to be worth well, I'm not going to say it in the radio. So,
all right, but Dick, let me cut you. Let me cut you off here. Hold on. Listen,
you can't say that either.
Listen to me now.
What would you say? You said something about Dick rubbing something.
First of all, I can't believe anybody chooses to go by that name. And I love you. And I love you. Dickie, you're a lovely man. Listen to me.
You just made fun of that guy for all that call.
That's not true. I give him credit because you got to be at least 70 to go by that name these days. Like, what kid in 2016 is going into the high school yearbook? I'm Dick. What? Nobody does that. You're Rich, you're Richie, even Richard, you probably legally change. You got to be an OG to rock that name.
Like that? That's Tim Allen's actual last name. Do you think it's worse to have that as your first name or your last name?
Any invocation of that in your name. It's all no, but that's the key. That's where I love that dude. He rocked it. He called the best show in his city, and he went, "Hey Dale, here's the deal, baby. Yeah, no, I'm not Richard. I'm Dick." And you're gonna put that. You're gonna type that in there. I've been doing radio in this city for 12 years. We have never had that name on the call screen.
That Dick seemed nice. He did.
Friendly, and we're 12 years old. I know, but will you live with us and have a good time for a minute? Thank you. I forgot the point I was going to make, but it doesn't matter.
Dick didn't make it for you?
No, I was going to add to it, and I got to tell you, I got lost because then I started telling you. I mean, I have a great degree of respect. That man just says to hell with it. This is my name, and I'm rolling with it.
You just like that he goes by Dick?
Yes. Now, you done? May I? I have to do business.
I'm racking my brain.
Okay.